don't mistake the cause of emotions suffused in tears. Whenever I dream, a single sorrow is you, my love.
Music for me is my biggest passion. Without music, I feel I would be nothing. So it's very important for people to feel that they exist, and for me, music helps me feel like I'm part of the world. So the reason I do music is to firstly express myself from the inside, and then connect with people on the outside and give what I can that way. So that's why I do music, and it's the only thing I know now. It's the only thing I want to know. I mean, I would never say never to doing something else in my life, but at the moment I can't see that I would do anything else apart from music. It's what I live for. It's my biggest passion. I come from Melbourne, Australia. I've been here in Germany this trip for 7 weeks, 8 weeks. Altogether, I'll be here for 9 weeks. I'm here to work, play, have gigs. I've had a very successful time. I've worked with a lot of great producers, and I've also done a lot of great gigs. And before I left Melbourne, I finished producing a jazz CD. And that's what I'm walking around with that now. So that's what I'm doing. I knew that I would be doing something artistic always, since I was very young. I thought I'd be a dancer. But that didn't happen. I got sick. I actually was too foul to dance, too lazy to dance when I was a teenager. I became a teenager and I didn't want to go to classes anymore. And I found music really easy. I found singing really easy. I'm a natural singer, so it started in high school with boys who had bands and couldn't find singers, and I was always asked to sing. Or in high school musicals, I was always the person asked to be the lead in the musical. And my sisters and I have 2 older sisters, and we used to sing together. We were quite popular, and we used to sing like Aretha Franklin songs, and they used to do backups, and I would be the Aretha part. So yeah, so it's always, and then from that it just naturally went to. At the end of high school, music became my main subject. I then studied classical operatic singing at university, and then I joined some pop bands, and then came to Germany and met some electronic producers, and started working with electronic artists here, and now I'm moving towards incorporating jazz as well into my life. So it's all, I love world music. I love any music that moves me, and that can be folk, world, jazz, punk, electronic, anything that I like. It has to be anything I like, really. Yeah.
But no more. We're state of the art, but no more. Was love at the start, but no more.
I worked here in Germany a lot years ago, and from that I became well connected with very amazing producers, like you mentioned before, Klaus Schulze. I worked with him. I've done a few tracks with a guy called Henning and another guy called Torsten. One of them's from Kraftwerk, and I work with a lot of other underground but well-known electronic producers. And through that, I have enough songs out in the world that I then get approached. So I've been approached by, most recently, Ferry Corsten, who's probably one of the biggest DJs in the world today, and he asked me to co-write a song for his album. And I'm also doing film music with a guy in America called Scott Rockenfield. He's in a band called Queensryche. They're a very big heavy metal band, but he does amazing, and he does amazing film music, film compositions, very much in the style of Hans Zimmer sort of stuff, and he needs a singer for his things. So people just write to me and ask me if I want to work with them, and if I like what they do, I say yes. So that's how I just, whatever comes,
Birds flying high.
For years, I thought producing was my favourite thing. So I have a studio in Melbourne, and I didn't do any live gigs for about 5 years, and all I did was write and produce. And I love producing. When I produce, I feel like 10 hours can go in like 5 minutes. It feels like 5 minutes. But then 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to start singing live again, and I realised that I needed to evolve. I needed to connect. When I produce music, I do feel like I'm connecting, except the fact is that not enough people connect with it, not enough people hear it. There's so many producers out there producing music. There's a lot to choose from. And I found that by singing live for people again, I could get a direct connection immediately with people. So it's a natural progression from there that I've just started singing live again in the last 2 years. And I think that's probably what I love right now. That's my favourite thing right now.
You know how I feel. Blossom on the tree. You know how I feel.
Just before I left Melbourne, I recorded a CD at a place called Bennett's Lane Jazz Club, which is the most prominent jazz club in Australia. And I perform there quite often. And I didn't have a CD that was jazz. All my CDs are electronic. So the audience was a little bit confused, like, what do we buy from Julia? So the Bennett's Lane invited me to come and officially record a CD at their club so that I could have something for people who wanted a CD. And it was very successful. I mixed and mastered it myself. I produced the thing myself, and I chose extremely good musicians to perform on it as well. I just finished it actually before I left to come to Germany this time, so I will officially release it when I go back home. But it's a mixture of my own songs. It's a mixture of classic jazz tunes, and it's a mixture of, there's one Piaf song, and there's a few Kurt Weill songs as well. So it's a really nice mixture of stuff. Yeah. It's just a natural thing that comes, and if anything comes to me, it's intuitive or it's subliminal. I sometimes do write songs where I plan to write what they're about, but it's not really my style. My style is more to start with the music and then see what melody speaks, and then usually the words come at the same time as the melody, and then I refine it. So I find that's the way to get the song, as concise as possible, is to let the melody speak the words, and I just improvise and let them come, and then I pick out what it's trying to say, and then I make that more into a story. So that's that's probably how I do it. Yeah, but there are many different ways I write. Sometimes I start with the music first. Sometimes I write. I've got books and books and books of poetry. Sometimes I might start with poetry. If I go to another producer, an electronic producer, I might bring words of lyrics and then choose lyrics that I think fit. Or sometimes I'll just throw them all away and just say, let's start from the beginning. So there's just so many different ways. I met Manfred through Ian Melrose, who's a fantastic guitarist who lives in Berlin, comes from Scotland originally. And I've known Ian for quite a few years, and Ian told me about Manfred, and then I heard from other friends, oh, Manfred's really good. And I went and saw for myself. I saw myself at the I can't remember what the place is called, the Bergville, you would know what it's called. He did a big outdoor concert, and I went and saw that. I was very, very impressed. And so we met there, and then he invited me to come and work in the studio. I gave him my jazz CD, and he liked it. He wrote me an email and said, would you like to come and do some stuff here? So I came here, and we had a really, really nice time. And I recorded a song that he is going to put on his new album, Windmills of My Mind, and that's the English version. And we also did one of my own songs, actually. So I've written a song called A French Love Song, and it's a reference to La Vie en Rose by Piaf, and Manfred's playing accordion on it. So we had a nice little you know, I showed him my new songs. He wants to work on them, and I like his stuff, so I'll work on that. You know, it's a nice exchange. Yeah, so very, very nice to be in his studio too. It's a great place to work.
In your head. Why did summer go so quickly? Was it something that I said? Lovers walk along the shore, leave their footprints in the sand. Was the sound of distant drumming just the fingers of your hand? Pictures hanging in a hallway and a fragment of this song. Half remembered names and faces, but to whom do they belong? When you knew that it
Ich habe die Julia auf meinem Konzert in der Burg Wilhelmstein durch Ian Melrose kennengelernt. Wir wurden uns kurz vorgestellt und es war von der ersten Sekunde an ein Kracher, also einfach Energie ohne Ende. Und ich habe mich dann in den folgenden Tagen, der Rekonvaleszenz sozusagen vom Konzert, habe ich mich ein bisschen im Internet umgetan und habe nach ihr gesucht und das auch ganz schnell gefunden. Und sie hatte mir eine CD mitgegeben auf der Burg und ich habe da reingehört und habe gedacht, wow, das ist mal eine andere Geschichte hier. Und dann haben wir kurz kommuniziert und flexibel, wie wir beide zu diesen Zeiten dann eben sein konnten, war sie ein paar Tage später hier, ist 3 Tage geblieben in meinem Gästebereich und wie ich schon sagte, unglaublich viel Energie, dazu ein Können einfach. Die weiß sehr genau, ihr Instrumentlein hier einzusetzen und kann das auch variieren. Also das war erstmal groß und es riecht verdammt nach mehr. Also ich habe richtig Lust bekommen und dann nach einer Weile merkt man, aha, das ist nicht eine Eintagsfliege, das eine Liedchen, was ich da jetzt gesehen habe, sondern die hat hunderte davon. Die sind jetzt alle irgendwo hier auf den Festplatten verkramt und ich werde die nächsten Wochen damit verbringen, mich da mal durchzuhören und da mal werde ich versuchen, Sachen zu finden, die zu mir passen.
I am conscious to give a good message across. Yeah, I'm conscious not to, you know, to be negative and not to be a victim and not to, you know. And if I am, then it's a spiel. If I am, it's for theatre. It's not because that's the way I'm feeling, you know. So there's no conscious messages, but definitely. Yeah, I think love is a really, really good theme because, I mean, as much as it can be so Alban or so, I don't know what the word is, but, you know, everyone falls in and out of love and everyone has love and we are all love. So love is, you know, love is a great thing to write about and it never tires as a theme, you know, it really doesn't. So it's that's a good one. Yeah. My next gigs are, unfortunately, the gigs that I have in Germany. I had my last gig today. So the next gigs I have are in Australia. My next gig back from Europe is in Bennett's Lane in Melbourne. That's on October the 21st. And then my official CD release will be November the 18th at Bennett's Lane in Melbourne. And I then will play there a few more gigs and hopefully come back to Germany in March next year to start doing some gigs again. That would be nice. Yeah, I have to plan it though. A lot of work to do.
Whom do they belong? When you knew that it was over, were you suddenly aware that the autumn leaves were turning to the color of her hair, like a circle in a